It is time for Money Matters, where we talk about some of the biggest stories impacting your wallet this week. I'm Jonathan Martin. Well, the start of the new year means it's time to start getting your tax paperwork together. And if this is your first time filing, here are 5 things that you need to know. First, figure out if you even need to file a return. Generally, if you earned nearly $14,000 in gross income last year, you must file a tax return. Next, gather your documents. You'll get documents from your employer about how much you made, and there are additional forms if you make money in non-traditional ways like freelancing or gig work. Also, gather any receipts for potential deductions. Third, figure out if you can claim a dependent. If you live at home, your parents are likely claiming you, but if you have a child, they are your dependent. Fourth, find out if you qualify for deductions or credits like student loan interest, earned income tax credit, or making donations. And finally, decide if you need help from a tax professional or if you can file for free online. Tax day, by the way, is April 15th. Some people are seeing a slightly bigger paycheck this year. That's thanks to an adjustment the IRS made because of inflation. Now, the change plays into the federal income tax brackets, so here's what you need to know. If your wages are similar to last year, the adjustment could result in a small paycheck increase depending on your withholding. For 2024, the taxable income brackets changed for both single and joint filers. That means more of your money is getting taxed at a lower rate, which leaves more money in your bank account. And while it all sounds great, it's not really extra money because the feds did this to help Americans keep up with rising prices at places like the grocery store and the gas pump. This year's IRS adjustment is the second largest in 30 years. That's only behind last year's adjustment. Some positive news now for your wallet. The rate of inflation improved significantly over the course of 2023, and that's according to some new data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. But that doesn't necessarily mean the things that we're buying are getting cheaper, and those continued high prices could mean we're also in for continued high interest rates. Reporter Ivan Rodriguez breaks down the data and explains what this means for your household budget in 2024.
The prices of U.S. consumer goods and services continued to rise in 2023, capping a year of progress towards reining in decades-high inflation.
Inflation increased a little bit faster than expected during the month of December, but we're still seeing progress, moving in the right direction, albeit slowly.
Federal data released Thursday shows a 3.4% increase in prices last year, down by nearly half from December 2022, when the inflation rate was at 6.5%.
2023 was a year where we saw inflation, the rate of inflation come down dramatically. Now, that doesn't mean prices are coming down, just means they're not going up as fast. But the important point is that we're now back to a situation where income is growing faster than inflation.
The economic picture for consumers is improving. The cost of food and energy have come down significantly from 2022. But many households are still struggling, especially as the cost of shelter, medical care, and motor vehicle insurance continue to rise.
They're still feeling the effects of high prices and maybe income that hasn't necessarily kept up with that or has barely kept up, and so they haven't seen an increase in buying power.
Despite meaningful progress on inflation, Bankrate.com's Greg McBride predicts the December numbers will likely put a damper on investors' hopes of interest rate cuts by early spring.
The Fed is likely to cut rates this year, but it's probably not going to happen to the middle or back half of the year. And that, too, is just contingent upon us continuing to see further improvement.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
It appears many Americans are looking for a new place to live. Mortgage applications shot up nearly 10% during the first week of January. Analysts say this major hike is promising for the overall market. The Mortgage Bankers Association also hints that dropping interest rates are getting more house hunters back on the prowl. The average rate for a 30-year fixed loan is now just over 6.6%, according to Freddie Mac. Yearly inflation at Metro Atlanta restaurants is ticking down, just slightly though. That's according to our partners at the Atlanta Business Chronicle. Food away from home prices went up 8.5% in December from 1 year before. Inflation on restaurant menus is higher than almost every other category reported in the Consumer Price Index from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The only category with higher spending, electricity, which went up more than 13%. Thousands of more people are having their student debt wiped clean. The White House announced a fresh wave of debt cancellation for some borrowers. This applies to borrowers who received less than $12,000 in federal loans and have been paying off their balances for at least 10 years. The move applies to borrowers enrolled in the new income-driven repayment plan known as SAVE, which administration officials say is a way to help lower their monthly payments. While 30 million people are eligible for the SAVE plan, the Biden administration says that only about 7 million are currently enrolled. This might come as a bit of a shock. New data shows people who work fully remote were promoted 31% less than their in-person counterparts last year. That's according to employment data provider Live Data Technologies. But here's some good news. There was no difference in promotion rates between hybrid workers and those who go in to work 5 days a week. Meantime, it can be harder for some to ever imagine going back into the office 5 days a week. In fact, according to a Gallup poll, just 20% of workers were fully on site in 2023. That's down from 60% in 2019. Reporter Christine Romans explains what we can expect for this year.
Frank, could you mute your line, please?
From the dreaded mute button mistake to a revealing Zoom call.
The whole team can see your upper thigh.
Hybrid work is here to stay. A survey of CEOs found just 4% say they'll prioritize getting workers back in the office full-time this year. Bosses more interested in keeping their workers happy than keeping cubicles staffed 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
The pandemic ushering in a shift in how and where and when we work. With unemployment near a 50-year low, CEOs are desperate to retain talent.
Their bigger fear is losing good workers, not getting them into the office.
Absolutely, as it should be, because good workers are the key to driving financial results for your organization.
Each industry is a little different. Banks brought back workers 5 days a week early. Amazon told staff in November they need to be in the office 3 days a week. So did Meta. But UPS wants office workers back full-time later this spring. After all, the drivers can't work from home.
Like, why are we doing this?
On social media, plenty of griping about going into the office at all.
There's just so many options out there that don't involve people going back to the office.
But the dream of 100% work from home is fading, much like the dream of 5 full days in the office. Nearly full-time remote work has plummeted from 34% in 2022 to just 1% last year.
Get back to work.
Back to work for many in 2024 will mean getting back to work at home and in person for good.
We're all looking to get the most bang for our buck, right, and save a little money along the way. And we've seen some posts claiming the prices are different if you're getting Chick-fil-A through the drive-thru versus going into the restaurant. Our sources are the menus from the Piedmont Road location here in Atlanta. Our digital producer Reeves tested out the claim himself. So he brought back the receipts, and Reeves bought the same items both in the drive-thru and in person. And the receipts show the prices, as you can see here for yourself, are the same. And we took it a step further. So this is the inside menu showing the Chick-fil-A sandwich is just under $5. The meal is $8.85. And as you can see, the drive-through menu has the exact same prices listed. So we can verify, no, the prices don't change whether you are going through the drive-through or going into the restaurant. Of course, we are always dedicated to answering any questions you have. If you see a claim online that you would like us to verify, just send us an email to verify@11alive.com. You can also always text the word verify to the number on your screen.